Lincoln's view on slavery and race. Today we will be focusing on trying to figure out what his actual opinions were regarding that. One of the most confusing aspects of the Civil War is trying to figure out what Abraham Lincoln's stance was regarding slavery. Although the Civil War led to the emancipation of slaves with the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, Lincoln went through a transformation over the course of his political career. Take a look at the following information to try and understand that progression. We'll start with the Lincoln-Douglas debates between Abraham Lincoln and Stephen Douglas. These were for the Senate race in 1858. Stephen Douglas argued that popular sovereignty should be the defining point when it comes to slavery, that the people should be able to vote on whether or not they wanted slavery in their issue. He also argued that slavery was not immoral. Lincoln, on the other hand, disagreed and said that slavery was immoral, that this was a labor system that was based entirely on greed. The crucial difference between the two of them is that Douglas believed that slavery, through popular sovereignty, would be able to pass away on its own, that the people would vote that they do not want it. Lincoln, however, doubted that slavery would cease to spread without any sort of legislation outlawing it in the territories. The accusations. Lincoln accused Douglas that he was a defender of slavery, while Douglas accused Lincoln of being an abolitionist, something that not everybody wants to be considered at this point in time. It is a little bit of a attempted attack on Lincoln's character. Lincoln with slavery? He had said, "I am not, nor ever have been, in favor of bringing about in any way the social and political equality of the white and black races." However, he insisted that slavery was a moral, social, and political wrong that should not be allowed to spread. So part of this is part of the political persona. If you're running for office, there are many people that don't want to vote for somebody who is in favor of appearing to be sympathetic towards African Americans. Lincoln's view on slavery? In the beginning, federal government did not have the power to abolish it where it already existed, according to Lincoln. He once said, "My paramount object in this struggle is to save the Union, and it is not either to save or destroy slavery." But the progression is during the war. He uses the emancipation of slaves as a tactic of war. Why? Well, slave labor in the South built the fortifications and grew the food for the Confederacy. If the Union Army can seize Confederate supplies, he could also authorize the Army to emancipate the slaves, thereby breaking down the Confederacy. So the Emancipation Proclamation. This was issued on January 1st, 1863. All persons held as slaves within any state or designated part of a state, the people whereof shall then be in rebellion against the United States, shall be then, thenceforward, and forever free. And upon this act, sincerely believed to be an act of justice, warranted by the Constitution upon military necessity. I invoke the considerate judgment of mankind and the gracious favor of Almighty God. So does the Emancipation Proclamation free all slaves? No, it doesn't. They are only freed in places that are in rebellion against the United States, so Confederate states. Where are they not freed? Any of those border states that are still kind of toying with the United States, so places like Maryland, they still have slavery. I hope you learned something about Lincoln's progression when it comes to slavery. It is not an easy progression that he went through, but one that nonetheless led to many other important features of American history in the future, particularly when it comes to civil rights.